I know that we'll have a good turnout in March election. But everybody don't forget about November 4th.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. I don't want to not forget about that there are some constitution um, amendments there and probably some local um, items in your local city, wherever it may be. So definitely give that a turnout as well. But Dr. Lewis, to talk about my race is um, I know that I'm well experienced to be the chair. I know what is needed. Um, our our party, our organization needs funding, and we need strong funding. We need stability in the funding because we need for it not to get funding today and pay staff and then we have no more. We need a steady flow of funding that is needed. There have been hard work by past presidents, and I appreciate that. I appreciate what everybody do and your leadership on the advisory council that you share with the party. That is much needed. We're working on the bylaws that now gave myself, as a part of those bylaws, more insight to the position of the chair of the advisory council to the chair. And it is definitely those two working together, those parties, sharing ideas and looking at our staff and looking at the issues that we have facing us.
Go into detail on some of those issues because you know as well as I do what we as a party, what we do, and how we vote in 18 is going to decide which whether we take the fork in the road to the right or to the left. So share with us your views.
Well, I hope I'm in the middle, leading it. Everybody else can be to my right and helping lead the middle. But one thing that we need to truly focus on, the grassroots, and there are our precinct chairs. Our precinct chairs are very important. We have a lot of vacancies, and I think that if we build the morale and build relationship with the precinct chairs, we will get the stability. We want get just precinct chairs that would stay through a campaign or through an election, but this is something that they would love to do, continue to do, and be honored because our precinct chairs are elected officials. And so if we bring that morale back into our party, that is going to help us in all ways, definitely with our fundraisers and our um, stability in our finances. Because number one, I precinct chairs are out there that can get individuals in because in fundraising, I always hear where you got to be able to raise funds and you got to be able to raise funds. What you have to do is be able to communicate with individuals that have money
That's true. Very true.
and also include your executive because it needs to be a plan. You just don't jump in and raise money or take all of my money and put in the party because that's not money. That's new dollars. Those dollars will leave very soon, very soon. So
we don't stick around.
Don't stick around. I mean, you make those dollars a day, or you encourage those dollars because you got to work hard on that morale. Because when you work on that morale and those individuals, and you be honest, and when you present something to them, carry it out. One thing about this campaign that I strive hard to do, very hard, is to be honest and tell it like it is. It's because this is a 2-year term, and you all want your candidates to make promises that they can keep because we do a lot of, oh, I guess, advertising to say and to buy you in and to actually have you to close your eyes to what's really happening and looking at now. we are not looking at now. Whatever we do in March 6, 2018, will change the course of our party in Dallas County. We're blue. We want to stay blue. But we want to make sure that we are all involved in this and we all have a part, because there's no big and little. The positions are there as, I would kind of say, you attach to the hip. And that attachment, you have to stay, you have to work, and you have to be committed and carry through your plan. I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of thoughts about where the party should go and all of this, but most of all, like I said earlier, I hear about, you got to raise money. Can you raise money? Anybody can raise money. Anybody can raise money. You can have a good fundraiser today, but can you have one tomorrow? Can you have one 6 months from now? Can you have one that's going to impact? And trust me, I have some goals. I know in our past fundraisers, we have had individuals to come and we raise some dollars, but I'm talking about big dollars. We need to have millions. We need to have somebody that can bring our community together and in the house. Because if we get one good fundraiser, and I know that I can do that. I know that it doesn't matter how. I have good leadership skills. I have served as a school board member for 16 years. The last 2 years, I was board president. Well, we build, in my tender, we build a $80 million high school. That took unity. It didn't take the board president by the board president's self. It didn't take the superintendent by himself. It took a unit. Mm-hmm. And if you get a unit and definitely work with the advisory council and the leadership there, we will, without a doubt, there will be no confrontation. There will be no, well, we didn't do this or we shouldn't, because we're going to do it all. We're going to do it all. I'm not going to make a promise that I cannot keep.
I understand. We Democrats have a reputation, if you listen to some of the Republicans. Oh, we don't have to worry about them because they fight so hard against each other. And so we don't have to concern ourselves because they can't get anything done because it's all personality conflicts and all this other stuff. Now, to some extent, they got a point. But the other thing is, how to get around it. The thing that I see is bringing together people so that they operate as a unit.
Correct.
Where people aren't so touchy-feely about everything, that they can work together and have respect for each other. Speak with that.
All right. That comes in leadership, because when you're building morale and you're building a relationship with individuals, you want to make them feel comfortable. You really have to have those skills, because if you don't have personal relation skills or good communication skills, you're not going to get that crowd to stay with you. You're going to get a breakdown. And I know individuals would come to my home or come around me and say, well, Ms. Moritz, it sounds more like home here. It sounds like when I come to your place or when I'm around you, feel comfortable. I'm an advocate, so I work with parents, with their children. And I tell you, once I get a parent, if the child is in the 6th grade, I'm going to see that child through college. Because that parent always come to me because they are connected with me. And something happened a week ago that really, really showed me what I'm doing is on track. I was presented an award for the year as a mediator in family and civil court. You have to be able to communicate between each party. You know what I'm talking about. Yes,
Especially
yes,
family court.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
because you have a fight. You have a fight, and you need to be able to work through that, work through those attitudes, and don't entertain it because it'll grow. You
Yeah.
have to let it go, and you have to walk off with a smile and say, you know what, I'm gonna see you next week. Matter of fact, I'll see you tomorrow if you want to come over and help me,
Hmm.
because that's what we do. That's what we do. Any seat that I sit on, I am more than willing. I believe in being on time. I was on time today, right? A little bit
You're
early.
right.
And I believe on being there. Because if we're serving our party like we should, we show up to meetings. And not only do we show up to meetings, we come to the table with something. Can you imagine the relationship that build? You can build on that. And so I'm a full believer of that I put God first, and I know exactly if I'm pleased with myself and know that He's pleased with me, then I can be pleasing to you.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Something else about that, um, patience, um, the ability to try to reach and understand. I know I'm preaching to the choir now because uh, you're a mediator and you fully understand the art. It's not a science of trying to uh, reach out and extend a hand whereby a person doesn't necessarily have to feel threatened. You can be genuine even in dealing with a person who is not genuine, because you as a mediator, you're the only honest one in the room.
Absolutely. And I have to be able to turn that around.
Yeah.
And that's what is needed. You can't walk away from that. You cannot be in a heated discussion and you not face it.
Yeah.
Because that is important. Because one thing about it, if you walk away, you still got it when you come back.
That's true. That's true. Let me ask you something. You've been a Democrat, what, all your life?
All my life.
All your 21 years?
All of my
Okay.
11 years.
11? Okay. All right. But no, seriously, we have a lot of elections, a lot of races and people running, and for everything from the court system all the way up to the, so to speak, the dog catcher, so to speak. But see, the thing is, I think the genuine willingness to serve is more important. What about a situation where a person never shows up and then all of a sudden they just show up? Is that genuine?
It depends on what they're showing up for. You know, and thank you for bringing that and acknowledging that. I first became a precinct chair in 1988.
Wow.
I stood fast, and I'm still standing fast.
Good, good.
But when a person come to a meeting and they have not been to a meeting, and in that meeting you cannot call order, you cannot get things organized, I think that is the perfect time to start building a relationship to say, if we could do something to help, or if you want to sit on a committee, if you want to sit on a board, let the council look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Let us look at that and let us share it in. Because one thing about it, good leaders don't just show up. They are there every meeting.
All the time.
All the time. It doesn't matter if they say anything or not. Everybody have their opinion. You have to respect their opinion. And I can say I've been a part of the council a long time, and I don't remember you missing any meetings because I've been there. And so appreciate that, because that is important. And that is why you are the chair, and you are able to handle that, because we have that. We have that in our meeting, but we are able to carry that agenda right through. And that's what's important. Can you have an agenda and make some exceptions and be able to get what your goals were and what you set out to do in that time? Because just like if our meetings are scheduled at one time and we go over, we have to, there is nothing to say that you can't, you can't leave if you have other things going on.
You're right. I forget who wrote this book about organizational theory, who advances in any particular organization, be it business, uh, a corporate level, or a mom and pop, so to speak, or a political organization or anything else. The people that come and are consistently there all the time are the people that move up. The people who are sporadic or who come in only on certain issues and want to, well, for lack of a better term, not disagree, but disagree and be disagreeable, and have missed so many different uh, prior meetings that everybody looks at the table and start looking at each other and says, "Where did that come from?" But I believe that we can do a much more, uh, better job by just gradually. It's not going to happen overnight. Pulling people together where they get to know each other that as human beings, and at the same time, as they come close, they become a unit, and they're able to do as a unit much more than they could ever do it as a single precinct chair here or there. But in every organization, including the churches, you got a situation where there are going to be those who just want to disrupt because they can.
They want to, they want to be happy on this one, come back 6 months later, I'm unhappy. But what are you really unhappy with?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say myself, if someone cannot communicate and talk with me, I can tell you it's not on my part. I'm such a straightforward person, and I know that I can sit at the table and build this organization with communication. It's because guess what? I'm only tied to the man up above. I'm not being dictated to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not being brought.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said, well, Mars, it's going to take you about $300,000 to run this race, and it's non-paying. I've been doing this for non-pay and with accounting for non-pay a very long time. So no, what you have to do, there are some people out there still want that honesty. Mm-hmm. And they will make a choice in March. Mm-hmm. Our precinct chairs, I was really, really surprised. Dr. Lewis, I got more support for North than I did South. Mm-hmm. And I live in the South. So living in the South, and you have precinct chairs that don't trust you, but trust you with their children. Mm-hmm. Because if I can't trust you with my kids, I'm not going to trust you with anything. And if I can't trust you with my money, that's a problem. Yeah. And so when I say trust you with my money is running the school district, mm-hmm. Guess what we do every year? Guess what we did, because I'm not there anymore. We set tax, and we operate on their dollars. Yeah. And so I was there for 16 years. That's a long time. I started young. That was a long time to be there. Yeah. But I was also in corporate. I retired at SMU. And I was in administration, still working with people. That's not an issue with me. And you are right. And I always say, if an individual comes to a meeting today and you miss the next 10 meetings when you only meet once a month, you done miss 10 months out of 12. Mm-hmm. So how are you going to be able to vote? How are you going to be able to know about our finances? Because right now, I can guarantee you, all of these issues about the finances, and I know, but the conversation when it comes to financing individuals, it's what somebody have told them. Mm-hmm. It's someone that have told them. Because I'm going to go back to even my race. It don't cost money for me to sit down and talk to you. It don't cost money for me to encourage your vote. And you know what I'm not going to do? And I made a promise, and I know some other candidates were saying, well, if you pay them, then you will get their support and their relationship. No, you won't, because that's new money.
Mm-hmm.
So you pay them, you paying them for now. When you go away with the money, they're gonna go away. So you want to be very careful on using that and making that dialogue with individuals, because it will not last forever. It doesn't matter where your status, economic status is, it will not last forever. And our party needs stability and commitment, and show up. Yes, it's a race.
How do we get that?
Well, one, you get that by building, and you have to build, set goals yourself.
Mm-hmm.
As I look at moving toward being the next chair, because I'm looking toward that, I have already started setting goals. What do I really want to do and want to accomplish? And one, build relationship and build a morale up, because it's split. You remember I said I had to go far north?
Yeah.
So that's a concern, because I am the only African American on this ballot.
Very true.
And when you don't have support from where you are and where you live, where you work, where you walk the streets, that's a shame.
It is.
That's something wrong with that picture.
Something else, I think I said this when I ran for chair. I had, two major goals, okay? Strengthen the organization from the advisory council, and the level of training for the precinct chairs. Now, I know I came here 20 some odd years ago from a totally different environment where the precinct captains exercised real power. I'm talking about real power. And every meeting, they were always there. Matter of fact, to be truthful with you, the precinct captain had as much power that even the city council person doesn't have here.
Absolutely.
And
Grassroots.
yeah, and each precinct captain knew personally every family in their particular precinct. If something went wrong, sometimes they would call the precinct captain before they called the cops, because people didn't trust the cops. Okay.
That was back in the day.
I'm not too sure that we can trust too many of them now, but by and large we can. But this is a different day. But what we must be able to do is reach out to each other as precinct captains without getting in the morass of personality conflict. It's easy, because then again, you don't have to deal with the issues. You don't have to deal with people if you can throw up this flare and start this problem, But we really need to get that unity. It's going to take time, The retreat, that was the main step. Then there's other information. You want to get people coming to you from the community, requesting your input in dealing with those community issues. Now, I know that I'm an old man. I'm much older than people think. And you with your experience, me with mine, and some other people that really can contribute, sometimes get a little irked by, situations. But sometimes there's ways of dealing with it, and then again, sometimes there ain't no way to deal with it. But, you know, we got attendance rules and stuff like that. We can deal with that.
We can act up on it.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say is that since you've been the chair, I bet you we have a full house every meeting, because we really do. Sometimes we have an overflow. It's because what's on the agenda is production. It's production, and start with having the individuals there, because you have to get them there.
Yeah.
So when you get them at the table, you're at the table, we're all at the table making decisions, talking about it. Let it roll off your back when you walk out that door.
Oh, sure.
Because some individuals hold on that for many, many years. I'm not as young as people think I am, but thank you for that. I always say I've been to the mountaintop, so I can understand that. And I do know that communication, attitude, personality, building relationship keeps money.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say, when you got all of those, then now all you're working is going to the table and sitting down, and a lot of times you don't even have to ask.
You know, I don't know if you know it or not, your phrase, I've been to the mountaintop. I was with Dr. King.
All right.
I marched with Dr. King. And I know those of us who sit around that table are there because of those particular sacrifices. You know, the unseen, unknown participants. But I do know that a lot of people lost their lives for people to be able to sit at that table, because the Democratic Party at one time was dominated by the Ku Klux Klan.
I know.
And the John Birch Society. And some of those old gray-haired folks that we see around there were the liberals and radicals of our day that throughout the country brought about that particular change. But I think some people who sit at the table nowadays have forgotten that. And here's the danger. You forget your history, you're bound to do what? Repeat it. So go ahead, give me some input on that.
You're absolutely right. It's because, thank you for bringing that with Dr. King, because this will be history for Dallas County. I couldn't find a list or identify an African American ever serving as the party chair. Now, if somebody found somebody, it was before my time.
I'd like to know too.
Before my time.
I'd like to know.
And so we and our leaders in our community should embrace that. Should embrace that. But you know, like I said, that money ain't gonna last always.
No. And the other thing is, money doesn't always solve the problem.
Right.
And everything isn't about money, because if it was, we would not have the freedoms that we have today. And, you know, thank you for your service, because I know I have a pretty good idea of how tough things are, and you handle it well.
Thank you.
And people will try to, you know, they want to play games and play one against the other, all that. I let 90% of the stuff go out the window. And the other thing is, I want you to know that I'm aware, you know, not only your background history, but I'm aware that you're out there. And I just want to say, don't give up.
Oh, no.
Just keep going.
Never. Another strong stability that I have, I've been at my church for 29 years. Everybody can't say that.
Well, they sure can.
Everybody cannot say that. It's because, what are you attending church for?
Mm-hmm.
When you attend church for the individual, it's temporary. When you attend church and you are there to praise and be thankful for who you know, that's why you can have that stability. Mm-hmm. And sit still. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And sit still. We can work together. because it is about, it doesn't matter, north, south, west, east, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, what you do. Then the Bible says, come as you are. So we will come as we are and tell Dallas County. Now, this is the time we're going to stand tall. We stood tall with our president, President Obama, 2 terms. Because there's no way in the world can one person change as big as Dallas County is around in 2 years.
No way.
No way.
No way.
So they can say it again. But if they do, it's a miracle.
We know better, right? Yeah. We
and
know
I never
better.
use those terms
I understand.
because I'm a true believer.
Yeah.
I'm a believer. Anything that happened to us and anything that's planned, it was ordered my step to be on the ballot because there was so many surprises when I entered my name. There was no conversation. Mostly every board and council I sit on, it's because someone sought me out. Now I can admit, I just started coming to the advisory committee. I was not a delegate, and that precinct leader that you're saying, that captain, that is the delegate to sit on that advisory council. And we are just not sitting there. We're supposed to have a duty and responsibility. We're supposed to read.
That's right. And you know, and I know that there's room for improvement.
A lot.
There's room for
A
improvement.
lot. But all of us working together, we can make it.
Okay.
We can.
We want to thank you and wish you well for coming in, and let's make sure that this is the first time but not the last time on Being Politics in the Know. We're going to sign off now, but we'll be back next week, and we will be talking about some major issues in Dallas County. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.